the Moon deck, Oldie But Goodie, the Classic, the OG. And I've picked 2 different cards already, number 1, number 2. So I'm going to go through and show each of them. And if you would like to participate, you can throw a 1 or you can throw a 2 in the chat for whichever card stands out the most for you. It's an opportunity for you to practice your intuition, because then when I do the readings, you can see, hey, was the card that I was drawn to initially the one that I really needed to hear the most? So here's number 1. Number 2. And thank you to everybody who attended my psychic development class. Those are always fun every month. So if you happen to have attended that and it brought you here, then welcome. I'm glad that you are here. So I obviously have to schedule the one for September, but if anyone ever has any questions around, intuition in general or my experience, you can always message me. You don't have to wait for those classes. And of course, if you want to develop your own intuition, these are like a mini opportunity. Those workshops are the next best. And then after that, I do have a mentorship program one-on-one. Okay, and then number 2. All right, and feel free to keep putting those in the chat. It's also totally okay if you felt torn between the 2 of them. It could just mean that they both really resonate or they are important in different ways for you. I'm seeing like a pine tree, or evergreen, Christmas tree. It's like there's like a dusting of snow. At least where I am, I'm in summer. So again, sometimes this is a metaphor for something. I know there's other areas of the world where it is wintertime, but yeah, I'm just seeing this lone tree by itself, well trimmed and groomed. Again, the ground is covered in, I wouldn't say a light dusting of snow because you can't see beneath it, but it's a relatively thin layer. It's not like there was a blizzard or something. Okay, I'm just gonna narrate because it's just a scene is coming through. So this, I'm gonna call it Christmas tree. So this Christmas tree has a dusting of snow on it, but then there's a breeze or gust of wind that goes through, and so then some of that is flying off of the tree, kind of lightly floating, swirling around. And it's like we're following those snowflakes. Like, where is it that they're going to land? They're being guided to move, to relocate, to go somewhere else, a much farther distance than maybe you would think to go by yourself, or somewhere that's a little bit more unexpected. Significance of being on the backs of the wind, but having the wind at your back. It's having the airflow, the current, like pushing you and carrying you. It's not propelling, because there's more of a lift and flow and guidance to it. But why is it cold? Like, why isn't this just like water flowing? Because it doesn't necessarily feel as inviting, but it's about finding the beauty in it, because I'll share this anecdote because this is how this is coming in. Especially where I'm at, like in the Northeast, and I know there's a lot of other places too where, not necessarily everyone loves, oh, it's winter, it's snowing and we have storms, but there's certain kinds of snowfall where it's just nice to look at. You know you're not going to have to go out there and shovel or scrape off your car, or that there's going to be ice afterwards. It's that kind of a feeling of still being able to appreciate it, like see it, and find the beauty in it when it is a harsh condition and climate to be out in. But to be able to just reframe it. Okay, so I'm getting brought to as if it was like a snow globe. So within a snow globe, it's usually some sort of idealized picture, and you can control it because you can shake it or you can twist the little key on it if it's making sound or things are moving or whatever it is. There is a sense of control over it, but there's actually a beauty. It's not a beauty in the chaos because it's not chaos in this scene, but there's a beauty in the lack of control, in the power of this movement of the wind. Like that seems like it's really the most important part of the scene. Is it's this flowing, it's this energy, and it's moving people. It's allowing people to go somewhere else that they weren't necessarily going to go. They were perfectly content to just be on this tree. But it's like it's a shakeup, but it's not like an earthquake. It's just the wind is just picking them up and taking them off and moving them somewhere else. I feel like I can flip the card over now. Okay, this is super, super fascinating. So we got the ancestors card, and I will note there is a tree in the background. I celebrate my lineage and honor my ancestors. Now, one, I mentioned already there's a tree. It's a different kind of tree than the one I was seeing. This is a little bit more green rather than winter, not full on tundra, but wintertime. But it does make sense to me because it's a family tree, it's a lineage, so that's why that visual is on this card. And the emphasis in the visuals for the reading were about the collective moving. And so maybe that is your family, a shift with your family, or it's your community that is like family to you. It was kind of unclear about how many people or where this is in your circle that are being picked up and moved. But there's a sense of flow and trust in it. And I'll tell you, when I get this card, usually, it's either a reminder, like the value of family or your history or your culture. So it could be spending time with, the oldest members in your family tree. So it's about thinking back versus thinking about the descendants and what you could leave. It's not about a legacy. It's about looking back and honoring. But sometimes I get this card too, as a reminder to connect with my spirit team, because I do have people that are loved ones that are past, like grandparents, great grandparents. So sometimes it's about the wise counsel. Are we experiencing just the wind this week? And then we're just going into reflection and we're recognizing the gratitude, where we came from, what this means for us in the context of history. Yeah, that feels like that's all caps. Like, yes, definitely. So there's just one big gust, like there's like one, it's a transition. It's a transition. The whole thing is a transition. So when you have the wind is carrying, you just don't you don't have something that gets caught in the wind and it's here and then it just pops up over here. It has to travel from point A to point B. So inherently there is some sort of, like I mentioned at the beginning, it's a flow. It's moving from one place to another. And that's happening. It's coming across like it's like a 5 to 6 day thing. So it's pretty much the bulk of the week. And what could help you with this gust of wind is the connection, literal, with people, with food, culture, language. You could do research if you wanted to, but it feels a little bit less in that space. It's more about just having the gratitude, having the reminder, having the grounding. Remember, we're talking about a tree. We're talking about so much of the imagery here was in nature. So there's a big grounding piece to settle it. So you have air, you have wind that's shaking things up, moving things around, and all of the other visuals are like, but the tree, but the ancestry, but where you came from. So it's tools to stabilize the change that is happening and the transition that you and or the group of people that you are with or connected to, or maybe your family is experiencing. Courtney, I'm starting a new job tomorrow. Congrats. I'm very much a transition from A to B, and like I'm being blown in a direction. I'm leaving the tree of comfort to explore a new type of role. Great example. So again, it doesn't necessarily have to be that it is about your family, but it could mean, Courtney, for you that connecting to your family, or again, your culture, things that you like. It's less about the nostalgia of childhood and more just about um, connecting to where you came from. So there's a whole arsenal of tools, or it could be a spirit team. It doesn't even have to be, family members that are here, but just to know that you have those at your tool belt, plus the gratitude piece. So if you need those in your transition where it feels like it's a little unstable or uncharted, then that's the recommendation. This looks like a little pipette and someone's just releasing drops kind of in sequence. So we're not holding it and having it stream out, but it is a steady drip of whatever the fluid is coming out of it. And then I'm getting zoomed in on a single droplet. These do feel like they're different colors. Like each time one's being dropped, it's different colors. Like, oh, it's yellow and it's purple and it's kind of reddishy orange color and it's green. So each one is a little bit different. This is not having to do with flavor or anything, but it's supposed to be eliciting something in your sensations. What are your associations with each of these colors? So there's something that is a little interactive, sensory about this. So they have the dropper, so the different colors are coming out, and then it's have to tilt their head back. So I know there's different kinds of medicine like this. I mean, my mind goes to, don't you do that with babies? Like you, like you give them medicine through like a little dropper like that. I'm sure that there's some for adults too, but so it's like they're tilting their head back, opening their mouth, and then like just dropping it in. So there's a component where it feels like a medicine. It feels like it's something that's healing that we're applying. It's a concentrated dosage. The fact that they're all in different colors feels like it's because there's variety to it. We're healing through a variety of different tools, but they're all very concentrated. They're all intentional. We're not just, dumping the whole bottle in. I keep just getting it's these four things. So it's the purple, the yellow, the red, orange, and the green. So I just keep seeing like that sequence of those four over and over again. Just 1, 2, 3, 4. If you wanted to meditate or just kind of sitting and centering yourself, writing each of those colors down. So again, it was purple, yellow, red, orange, and green, and doing a color association first. So it's like naming all of the, like as many things as you can think of, shoot for a minimum of 10 that are that color. And then it's like you're creating, okay, I'm going to have to start writing some of this stuff down. This is like a whole tiered activity. So it's creating like then a word association. So like you look at as an example, so you name the 10 or more things that are purple. And once you have that list, then you could see if there's anything in common with any of them, but you're trying to figure out what's the healing through purple, like what's the adjustment that you could change in your life, or the different tool that you could use or apply. So it could be associated with some of the things you came up with in that list. I'm not supposed to give examples because then it would be leading you, because each person could come up with different things that are purple, and that's totally fine and kind of the point. And then you could implement some of those. So maybe you do that between today and tomorrow, and then over the course of the week, so you have four colors, so you could have 4 different days. So each day, so like, okay, Wednesday, you say, I'm going to do yellow. And then if you have yellow, or you can wear yellow, or doing things to engage with it, but then also whatever it is that you had come up with that you associate with it. And then the healing modality that came out of that in essence, and just working with that for the day. and doing that with each of the 4 colors. So it gets you 4 days of concentrated healing. So we have prep time that's right now, 4 days of concentrated healing. And then in the couple days after that, reflection, kind of like a how do you feel now? So you have the option of before you could say, how do I feel now? And then you spend the 4 days engaging with the different tools, the energy of the colors. I keep wanting to give examples and I just keep getting, don't. So whatever it is that you're engaging with that's relating to those specific colors, that then you can in post reflect and say, well, now how do I feel that I've engaged with those modalities? Jacqueline resonates wanting to try a few different tactical activities, 4 of them. Perfect. And needing clarity around them. I'm looking forward to the colors and trying one per day. Yeah. This sounds like fun, honestly. All right, so let's get to the card. We have the cycle card. My emotions move through cycles and connect me to my truth. So typically this card is talking about, one, obviously your emotions. So if you're feeling particularly emotional, but it's also picking up on impermanence. It's picking up on flow, transition, which is interesting given that that's what we were talking about for the first reading. But it's about connecting you to yourself. And is that not really the point of these activities? That we are trying to tap in, and maybe for you, it's more in the intuition front, or it's in, like was mentioned earlier, maybe this is in ancestral healing. Like it could be in clearing or whatever it is, like whatever the tools are that for your case, you know, you need to do, or you're curious to try because you are aware of them. Great opportunity to experiment with that. And the point is that this doesn't have to be forever, but there's a joy in that. There is a trust in being able to release in that. You don't have to commit to doing these activities forever or doing this type of exercise forever. We're just saying just a week, really just 4 days. You prep before, 4 days, and after. And so it's like this thing is impermanent, but that how it could help you to change, how it could help you to connect, to understand yourself, who you are, what's important to you, get to the root cause. Maybe through this process, like, because I had mentioned in this activity that you're thinking, how do I feel right now? I said feel emotions. How do I feel right now? That's what you start with. How do I feel? And then you do the healing work. And at the end, you say, how do I feel now? So we are allowing ourselves to connect to what's our emotional state, what is our current bandwidth, how are we experiencing our life right now. And depending on you, depending on the activities that you choose, depending on what it is that you are working through, maybe it ends up being an emotional experience. Maybe you find, oh, wow, when I got to that red orange day, whew, that really hit, that had me feeling some type of way. And that would be something that you sit with it. You know that it's not going to last, but that it's important to acknowledge them. It's important to experience and to feel the emotions that come up because they tell you your truth. They tell you what you need to know. And then you can also just use that reflection piece at the end. Also, on my blue day, again, this is not one of the choices. On my blue day, I could wear a blue shirt. Checking off one of them. I could try to go to the ocean or look at pictures of the ocean or watch videos of the ocean if I can't go there. So you could use it to like try to check some of those things off. So I mentioned pillow, chapstick, or what it's like surrounding yourself with the color blue in addition to doing the modalities. So again, it depends on the things that you write down. It depends on what comes up for you. But the point is that they can help get you to a modality, which you do, but then separately you can, and it's okay. You don't have to engage with all 10 or if you come up with more, but you're using it as inspiration to say, let me find where blue is today. Maybe what ends up happening is you're out and you're running errands and you just make a point of, let me just name everything to myself. Let me spot everything that's blue today. You could do that too. It's a great mindfulness exercise. Reading number 1. We had our pine tree. I described as looking like a Christmas tree. It wasn't decorated, but just that's the shape. Out in the wilderness, it really was totally by itself in a snowy landscape. It has a little dusting of snowflakes on it. A gust of wind comes through and it starts lifting all the snowflakes off, blowing them around and moving them to a destination, state of being, reality, etc., where either they wouldn't have normally gone or that there's something just very transitional about it. Like it feels like a big deal. So the snowflakes aren't just representing a single person. So it's not just you, but it could be you and your family. It could be all of the people who just relate. So you could be on your journey, but you're in community with all the other people who are in this kind of bigger transition. So this gust of wind is happening over the course of 5 to 6 days, meaning that you don't just have a change that happens overnight. The kind of liftoff is happening and you get from point A to point B in around 5 or 6 days this week. The other piece folded in here was recognizing it's cold, so there's harsh conditions, but being able to admire and see the beauty in it, to say, oh, okay, well, look at how the snowflakes are flying through the air and that I am able to see this, I'm able to witness this, I'm able to experience this. And we had the contrast of how people have a snow globe that's very controlled, it's very idealized. This isn't about us being in control. It's about us recognizing the power of nature, the power of transitions, and the value of it for the collective. The card that we have is our ancestors card. So it's, I celebrate my lineage and honor my ancestors. So of course we have our big tree on here. And the encouragement is because we're going through this transition, some sort of a change, some sort of a shift, that it's really, really important for us to find grounding. And we can do that through connecting to our ancestors. So it could be people that are alive, older than us, who we descended from. It could be food, culture, language, physically going back maybe to wherever it is that your family is from or that you are from. Maybe you just have a different town than where you're living right now. And also it could represent connecting to your spirit team. So it might not necessarily be living people that you're interacting with, but connecting with those who have wisdom to share and insights to help ground you in this period of time. For our second reading, we had a dropper pipette. So there was a series of drops coming out of them. Each of them were a different color in sequence. The colors that I saw were purple, yellow, a red, orange, and green. And this is a new sensory experience. What we got were instructions for a activity to do throughout this week. To start the activity off, what we do is we sit down between today and tomorrow, so Monday or Tuesday, depending on your time zone, writing each of these colors down and doing word association. So you want to come up with at minimum 10 things, anything you can think of for each of those colors. So again, purple, yellow, red, orange, and then green. Doing color association, minimum of 10. Then you pick a healing modality for each of those 4. It could be something that's related, like you're identifying some commonalities within that list. That gives you an indicator of what to pick. Otherwise, you're just assigning a modality to that. And then assign each of those colors to a day this week. Then you lean into that color for that day. You could wear that color. You could engage with the things that you labeled or named with the color association, and you of course do that healing modality on that day. So we want to have a before and after. So you sit down once you do the assigning, and there's just this simple journal prompt of how do I feel right now? Write as much as you want for that. And once you finish the 4 days, you're going to ask yourself the same question again. How do I feel right now? And you also could just reflect on the entire experience. Of course, if you want to journal during this, you can. But this all ties to our actual card, which is the cycles card. My emotions move through cycles and connect me to my truth. So the question that came through for the journal prompt was, how do I feel? Emotions. How do I feel right now? And then we're trying to heal something. So you could have emotional wounds that you are tending to, or doing this process of being creative or connecting to your inner child or shadow work or whatever it is, whatever the things are that you end up doing. They could bring something up. And the reminder here, as just as the cycles of the moon, it's all impermanent. So we're just doing this for this week. If you want to continue this, great, but that is your choice. But it's just, okay, I'm committing to this for this week. This too shall pass. Any emotions come up, they too shall pass. They're not going to be here forever, but it's really important to acknowledge them and see the truth in them. The point of this exercise is to see what comes up, to understand either more healing that is needed or what it is that you're learning about yourself. So we're doing this to reveal and to heal. There's instructions for both. So for the first reading, it was like, go somewhere, eat something, do something, talk to people that allows you to connect. So the action was finding the ways to ground specifically in your ancestry. You could do that once. You could do it throughout the whole week. It depends on you. It depends on the circumstances. And then, of course, for the second one, this whole thing was an activity. So there's a sense of action. There's a sense of, responding. In this case, it's whatever's been built up, whatever it is that we're going through that needs healing. We're taking action this week. We're going to have those steps. We're going to move forward. We can do it. And then for this one, it's something is changing. Some things are shifting. And then we are taking the action to respond to it for our highest good. It's to help support us through whatever it is that we are going through, whatever it is that is happening, so that we can comfortably, safely, in a supported way, get to the other side, move through that transition or move through the clearing or healing, close the chapter, whatever it is, because it depends on your situation. So you could be doing both of them at the same time. Maybe part of the work that you're doing, as an example, maybe things that you're listing relate to ancestry or culture or healing or whatever it is. Like maybe it just happens to be that some of the things that you listed based on the colors relate to your family. So you could kind of do a 2-for-1, and you could do that on purpose if you wanted, and say, okay, well, I know that I'm going through a change right now, but I really do like the idea of this activity. I kind of want to do this, or I know that I need it. Then you could just kind of blur them with each other. So basically, to navigate through the gust of wind, the transition process, you infuse the ancestry, the connecting with people, the healing, etc., the food, clothing, yada, yada. You just bake those into what your selections are. Shannon, I didn't necessarily pick a card, but number 2 felt like, oh, great, another task. That's a really, really good point. So if that's the case, then either it's it means, one, that it's not for you, or it means that it's the perfect reason to do it. Because if we are stuck in thinking it's a task, is our healing a task? Is taking a break a task? Is maybe, again, these are examples, feeding yourself healthy food, connecting to family. Are those tasks things that we have to do out of obligation? So it's up to you to decide where you actually land, but it could just be an encouragement to reframe it, that it's not that you're actually making yourself, because I totally get what you're saying. I got a billion things to do this week, but this could be super rewarding. And again, it's not permanent. It's not for long. We're just talking about a few days. It doesn't mean you're spending your entire Wednesday doing all these things related to yellow. You just do a couple things that day, or if you can wear it, you wear it. You change your phone background or whatever it is that you want to do. It doesn't have to take over your whole day.